The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Dueling Comedians, where two comedians clash to see whose comedy kills and who gets killed.
Figuratively speaking, of course.
All this to determine who claims the coveted Dueling Comedians trophy. This is Dueling Comedians.
I'm Tony V, and as you just heard, this is Dueling Comedians, not to be confused with Drooling Comedians, which is another podcast that I do on Saturday mornings from an undisclosed location. Today with me is, this is a little treat for me. Always glad to have to reach across the ages to one of the younger members of our community who is making a name for himself and doing very well. And I dare say I'm a fan as well as a friend of this man. This is Will Noonan.
Hey.
How are you, Will?
Good, man. That felt so good.
Well, it's true. I mean, I wanted this podcast to showcase comedy, but also, how I feel about comedy.
Yeah.
And other than my son Gus, who I've had on, I'm trying to, make it not just old fat white guys.
Oh, okay.
Which is
I
what,
thought you were going to tell me you love me like you love your son Gus.
No.
I was like, here we go. Here we go.
Listen, I love you more than I love Gus because you're not a pain in my ass.
I try not to be.
Yeah.
I could use a 20 after this.
I'll slip you a 20 if you need it.
But yeah, that's I'm a huge, obviously. I was a fan of yours before I was a friend of yours, and it's been cool as hell to be able to know you all these years and now do work with you sometimes.
It's great because sometimes it gets lost across, I'll say generations just for lack of another word.
Yeah.
That, guys who started when I did or people who started when I did, we do certain rooms and certain things, and then you don't see what's coming up behind you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I like to be aware of everything. I mean, because I love comedy and I like to know, what other people are doing and to stay fresh and not just be doing.
Well, you've always taken that. You never hid away. Some comedians, as you get older, I even feel like this sometimes. Like you get comfortable with the shows you do, and you just stop going to other shows.
Right. You stop making a living, and you go, well, that's where my energy goes, and there's no need to go do open mics or see
or a
what's
free
going
show
on.
that's
Or a free
maybe
show.
just experimental.
Yeah, I love doing comedy on any level.
Same. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like the art of comedy. I love what we do, and the fact that it's such a fucking scam, and we get to do it.
Well, it's true.
Like every.
I think about this. We both act too, and it's such a funny thing where it's like, so I just did this big car commercial, right?
Right.
And it's like, wow. They need me.
Right,
right. They got cars. They got all these smart people. They got all these cameras. They got millions of dollars. But they still need a dummy like me to come in and just kind of sprinkle whatever it is I can do.
Whatever your piece of that magic is.
And that's that's kind of the cool thing about this is in a sense, we're like, hey, I don't know what Harry Potter does, but when he comes over, moves the wand, the house is clean, and he's gone. So it's kind of like, I think that's the beauty of comedy is like people are paying you, but they don't even know what for, but they know you'll do it, and it's this.
Right, and
it's cool.
And they leave somehow better if it's going right.
Yeah, if it goes right.
If it goes right, they somehow leave better.
It's just such a fart when it goes bad, you know what I mean? When you're not getting the take on the commercial, it's like that love for the Harry Potter is fading so fast. Like 4 takes, they're like, oh, this guy, I guess he's not magical.
We need you. I've done a fair amount of that stuff myself too. Commercials.
Oh yeah.
Throughout the ages, and you want to be the guy that doesn't screw things up when you get on. And you also can't get that big of a head about it. I have a buddy who. When I was in L.A. for a time, he was booking these car commercials.
Yeah.
Repeatedly. He's actually a friend of a friend, not a direct friend of mine, but an acquaintance. And so finally he was making a good living doing this. And so finally he booked a car commercial, and he wanted to know what that magic was. which is, you should never look behind the curtain.
Don't
you
look
should
too
just
close.
accept it, right? So he said to one of the producers at the time, he goes, I'm glad to be here. I'm happy. He goes, but what is it about me? Like 100 people auditioned for that. What is it about me that made you want to pick me? And the guy took a pensive, long sort of thought, and he looked, and as sincere as anybody has said anything, he said to him, you made our car look exactly the right size. and from that day on, I go, you know what? Don't ask.
Don't ask.
Don't ask. Do your job.
It's so true.
Right.
The great Mike Donovan, friend of ours,
yeah.
gave me one of the best pieces of advice I've ever received as a comedian when I was a young comic. He saw me after a show. I'd had a good set. That you can sometimes, especially at the beginning, when you haven't had a lot of good sets, feels good to get the praise.
Right, sure, of course. There's something wrong with all of us that we need this constant validation from perfect strangers. But yes, I understand.
And it's so clear too. It's night and day after a show. Good set, bad set.
Bad set, right.
But anyway, Mike saw me talking to some people, and I remember I think we were driving back from the gig, and I said something like, blah, 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 that guy, he ended up not being such a good guy. Mike goes, typical Mike. He's like, listen, take the compliment and leave. He goes,
yeah.
One or two compliments, then it gets to criticism. They'll always start criticizing you. And he's so true, because it's like, oh, man, great set. Thank you. Oh, you're the funniest comedian I've ever seen. Thank you. That third joke, though, I just don't know about. Like, did you have to go there?
Oh, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
I've had people come up to me after shows and go, look, we thought you were really funny, but that thing you do, and I go, it could have stopped after.
Yeah, there's no.
You're funny. Thank you. That's
There's
why
no
we're
need.
here. There's no need to.
I've never been that kind of guy, like, about any. It's something, experience has to be so good or bad for me to want to say something to whoever is responsible for it. Like, I would never be the guy who's like, tell the chef I really enjoyed this. It's like, he makes food, I eat it. That's we're both doing our job.
Here's the compliment. The food's gone.
Yeah, I paid. I came here.
Right. I just had this discussion with the Oscars. People going, to get validation from your peers. They just gave you $10 million to do a movie. Yeah. How much validation do you need?
How much if you've gotten to the Oscar-nominated movie, you're already validated. You're the coolest guy from your high school class.
Right. And if you want to know if you're on a movie set, if you're doing a good job, if you're there on day 2, you're doing a good job. Yeah, because if you're not. Hey, did I introduce you to Laugh Track Larry?
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
Larry.
How are you?
Good. I feel like we kind of look alike. Is that
you and Larry?
A DNA test?
Me and Larry?
No, me and Larry.
Maybe
an older.
I know the wiser.
What year were you born?
I'm going with 82 these days.
82?
Yeah.
Is that in your acting range?
80.
Because I play anywhere from 50 on now.
Oh, I'm actually getting to the age now where I'm so, like, I just played something in the script. It just happened to say, like, it was a small part, but in the script it said, like, mid-20s jerk. And I was like, mid-20s, baby.
Jerk. Yeah.
I was like, I made it.
I got another year of mid-20s.
But, I'm like, I just have started to play dads, so I'm getting there.
Oh, there you go.
I'm
in granddad territory.
Get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's any gray hair. I mean, it's all like.
No, if you need a big, luggy Boston guy, they call me. That's the way
Tony,
it goes.
Is it for demented granddad?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Often, parts I read for will have in parentheses somewhere in the description, slightly off kilter. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
The comedians of Boston are kind of known as like acting assassins within the casting agencies.
Yes.
They bring us in like. We all know each other. They know like the 5 or 6 of the group that like act a lot. But I also kind of think they secretly use us to write commercials all the time.
Oh, I believe that sincerely.
Right?
I have walked out of commercials after ad-libbing for the people.
Yeah.
And go, oh, that sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, you come out and you look at the bench and you're like, Kelly, Corey, Tony. I'm like, there's a lot of great comics and improvisers here.
Yeah. I had a thing happen in L.A. where I did a bit at a show on a Sunday night, and 2 weeks later, it was in a sitcom, like word for word.
Yeah.
And it was a good joke, too.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I did an SNL, like a really throwaway kind of SNL video type thing, but they took a line right from my act. Like,
I
mean, it was so specific. I was like, they had to have seen me.
Then you go, oh yeah, that's the business room.
Yeah, that's the business. Right. I remember when I started, people were like, SNL, watch out.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Where can people get a hold of you quickly?
SNL.com.
Okay. If you want to see any of Will stuff, just watch
WillNoonan.com. Just Google a fella.
All right.
You're listening to Dueling Comedians. Now streaming on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. This wicked pissa show will be right back.
This is David Garofalo, and you've heard me say it over and over again for many years. Please support your local cigar retailer. And I mean it. If you don't buy from them, they will go away, and then what? There'll be no place to go. That being said, sometimes you're far away from any cigar shops or a place that doesn't carry the stuff you've been hearing about and you want to try it. That's where twoguyscigars.com comes in. It's the number twoguyscigars.com. And unlike most online cigar shops, at twoguyscigars.com, you can buy a single cigar of whatever you want. You don't have to buy boxes or even 5-packs and suffer through cigars you might not even like. One of this and one of that is acceptable, appreciated, and commonplace at twoguyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Thank you for your business.
We're still Dueling Comedians. I know you want us to be something else, like some sort of self-help thing.
That's big.
Or I'm big into the DIY.
Oh, yeah, you watch those?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to get some epoxy and colorful pencils and make a guitar.
I watch guys teaching me how to bowl.
Oh, bowling.
I watch a lot of bowling instructional videos.
Small ball or
big ball?
Big ball.
10-pin, as we call it in the biz.
Where can people see you?
Boston Bowl is where I hang out. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you go hang out.
Doing bowling humor.
Yeah.
I do hang out there a lot. They can see me Nick's Comedy Stop. I got a internet radio show of my own called The Noonan Show.
The Noonan Show.
That's brand new.
Are you still doing Hypothetically?
Hypothetically is still going strong.
That's some sort of a podcast, yes?
That's a podcast that's sort of it's like it started when I was like emceeing,
right?
And I sort of been updating it over the years,
right?
And it's funny. A lot of people like the old episodes the most when I'm like, I'm driving back from New Hampshire and I'm like, I just bombed. I'm never gonna get good at this. And it is cool to go back and listen to that stuff.
Yeah, you should go back.
I listened to that one.
You like Hypothetically?
It's a play.
Larry?
It's a play on words. Hypothetically.
It's true.
You're right. You think it means one thing and it means something else.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
No.
It's
hypothetically.
hypothetically.
Like high as in drugs.
It's a play on words, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's like
that's good.
I like to hit them over the head with the jokes.
Yeah. Nothing
Subtlety ain't my thing.
No. Why waste your time?
No.
Letting people get it.
I did a nursing home gig, and the lady goes, I'm more of a Bob Hope kind of person. You're kind of subtle. I'm like, Bob Hope's dead. And everyone's subtle to you, lady.
Bob, wow.
Another critic out there.
Another. Oldly. I one time had I was doing a thing for older people at the time. I was younger.
Yeah.
And that's a real rude awakening. I did an over 55 community show.
Ooh.
And, and that's a euphemism because they're all in their 80s. There's no one 58. You know what I mean?
And if there are, you're like, what's up, dude?
You okay? Right. But I did this over 55 community, and I was stunned that no one was coming up to me going, can we help you, young man?
I know.
Why are you here?
I'd be afraid, like, it would be time to go to your car, and they'd be like, no, Tony, come here. Your room's this way.
I one time had a woman come up to me after an older show, and she goes, you're the comedian? You look like the wild man of Borneo. I go, thanks. That's going on the top of my resume.
That's great.
Right.
Wild man of Borneo.
The wild man of Borneo.
Whoa.
That can mean but one thing.
It's a dual time?
Well, it can mean a couple of things. It can mean we're just going to listen to that for the rest of the show.
I would like that.
That'd be pretty good because I like it. It's jazzy. But it also means it's time for the duel, and we're competing, as always, for the coveted trophy. It says coveted trophy.
That's cubic zirconium right there.
Right there. Listen to this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You could break a window if you ever got stuck in a lake. You ready? You're up first.
I'm up first. So I was using an ATM machine the other day, but it was like a boxed-in one, like the kind you have to open a door and go inside. And yeah. So I go in, and there's a guy in there asleep, homeless guy. He's got the bottle of booze, couple bottles emptied next to him. I'm like, man, this is a sad scene. You know what I mean? But I need to take out $40, so what are you going to do? So I'm hitting the buttons, and this guy goes, from the ground, he goes, there were no gays on the Mayflower. I was like, it's just me and him, you know? I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's so weird. And I even thought, I'm going to say that on stage. That's so weird. And then I hit the button again, and he goes, there were no gays on the Mayflower. And I just go, hey, man, you know, I'm just trying to take out some cash. And then he pulls on my pant leg, points at my face. There were no gays on the Mayflower. I just said, hey, buddy, smarten up. It's 2019. Don't be an ignorant jerk, you know? Who do you think came up with the name The Mayflower? And then we kissed, and now he's producing a great podcast called Dueling Comedians.
To Larry there. I think you're sucking up to Larry. I am going to do that joke that I told you got stolen in L.A. and put on a sitcom, and it was very simply, when you read about, when there's a mob hit or a gangland-style killing, they'll always say, the body was found in a shallow grave. And I would say, take the time, dig the graves a little deeper. You're already there with a spade.
I know.
You know what I mean? Save yourself some trouble on the back end.
I agree.
Take the time, and you won't get caught.
All right, let's do stolen bits. This was mine that got stolen.
Beautiful.
So, and it's, is there something here in New England? It's funny. When we got here, I had to go get a coffee. It's just something you do. You got to get a coffee. There's always a Dunkin' Donuts everywhere.
Sure.
And there's this thing I always hate now, it seems nowadays, where I don't know why, but there's always like a drug addict type dude hanging out at Dunkin' Donuts. It almost seems as if rehab's full, they're like, just go to Dunkin' Donuts. Hang out. We'll find you. And there's always a dude when you go in there who's kind of like the mayor of Dunkin' Donuts. You know, he knows all the girls that work there. He's like, oh, my God, so didn't you used to work at the Hanover location? So that's it. Boom.
I was assuming that's where the laugh was supposed to be. That's good.
Yeah. Doesn't go anywhere good.
Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Larry's got a keen thing. All right. I have been trying to be more aware as I have come to this realization that in my life, I'm not aware of my surroundings.
Oh, yeah.
I often bump into things, or there'll be a spoon on the counter with sauce on it that'll go flying because I don't pay attention. And I sometimes you live what you think. So the other day I was walking through the house, and my wife goes, you got a huge gash on your arm. How'd you do that? And I go, I have no idea. I either brushed up against something, or Tuesday night I was in a knife fight. I can't really remember.
Oh, man. Well, I can't top that one. I'm just like laughing at that story right now. Recently, my parents have been getting into marijuana a little bit because it's become such like a staple of just society right now.
It's legal.
Yeah, it's legal, and my mom's like
You're
ordering
welcome.
oils from the. So it's kind of funny. My perception in the family has gone from this. It was this habit no one talked about all these years to now I'm kind of like the go-to guy for everybody for advice. So it just took Uncle Sam to make it good. So my mom wanted weed gummies, and I said why. She said she's going to the Rod Stewart concert. She wants to feel the music. So I gave her the same answer she gave me as a kid. I said, we'll see. Maybe. Maybe. If you and Dad don't fight for a couple days, maybe I'll get you some weed gummies. And the other one, this is true. My dad and me smoked weed, and we got very, very high. And my dad, we were eating cookies, and my dad wanted one. And he just could not could not remember the word. When I do the bit, it's like I almost make him seem like an idiot. But
Right.
it was funny. We were both like couldn't remember. And he's going, what do you call it? And then he got so frustrated. And he goes, candy cracker. Give me a candy cracker, Lee. It was just like father and son dying laughing for 25 minutes
funny.
at the bench. And it's become this family bit, and it's just been great. So candy crackers forever.
I get up in the night to take a leak about 3 or 4 times on average.
Rough.
And I don't say that with any pride. It's simply a statement of fact. You know, the alternative is worse. So I get up and I pee.
Yeah.
And then I read that bears hibernate for 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder, are they getting up every month and a half or so to take
pee?
a leak? Like you know, the husband gets up and the wife goes, "Hey, it's only March. What are you doing? It's your 3rd leak."
I like that the bear, the wild animal's like, I need to go take a leak.
Like he get up from
his bear couch?
and go to the bear bathroom.
The Charmin bears from... Well, I've been, I'm sort of I'm an uncle, but I feel like I'm a very good uncle. I'm like, I really do care about the kids. I try and, keep them off vape, and keep them on real cigarettes.
Right.
I want them to have a real childhood. But I do worry about them a lot, and one of the things I worry about is just high school stupidity. You're a father of two.
Yes, and it was
And we were all like, you and me were both kind of wild in our youth.
Yes.
Like, I worry about that because you feel like you're invincible. And I think about this all the time. Remember those memories in high school? You'd be in the back of one of your friends' cars, and they're speeding, just swerving down suburban streets, and you're in the back seat thinking, I should say something. But that might be embarrassing, so I'll just die. And you...
Were you done?
I wish I had this thing on stage every night.
This would be great.
It helps my timing.
We're gonna try to bring this on the road and do these live.
I love
it. If it ever catches on.
Will, I made that.
Did you make that?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's not only hilarious, Larry, but he's
Crafty.
very handy, very crafty. Yeah. He knows computers and stuff too. Oh, I owe a joke.
Sturdy.
Yeah. It's a humor door.
Oh my God!
You get it?
As the writer of Hypothetically,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate
that.
that.
I thought you would.
Check out my album, Mental Wellness.
Sticking with my animal theme, I was listening to NPR. Don't mean to throw that in people's faces. And there was a
Do you play
guy-
chess as well?
Yes, and the violin at the same time. I was listening to a scientist came on, and his whole reason for being a scientist was he was trying to prove that dolphins are not as smart as we believe they are. Because it's legendary that dolphins are smart.
Oh my God.
And this guy's going, they're not as smart.
This sounds like the elephant lobby.
Right. And I just picture this, this guy's day of him standing over a dolphin tank going, stupid dolphin. Look at you. You think you're so smart, dolphin. Yeah, open a soda can, dolphin. Here's some car keys, dolphin. Why don't you drive? Because you can't, because you're stupid.
Is that a new bit?
What's that?
Is that a new bit?
No, that's a bit
That is
that
so
I
funny,
did many
man.
years ago, like 4 times.
Oh, that's
because
gotta come
people
back.
Because people weren't buying it.
Oh my God, I love that bit. I like that someone had to hire this guy. Like, shut these dolphins down. SeaWorld. It was like, we're sick of everyone thinking they have a favorite color. They don't know anything.
I am so sorry that this even is couched in a competition. You were so funny. That was great. And
It's okay.
I fear for this one. Larry, it's in your hands.
Well, I'll tell you, I used to like Will till he made a hurtful implication about my sexuality.
That's true. I misgendered. It's the wrong year to make that kind of joke.
Yeah, I'm hurt.
That's
that, man.
Yeah,
you sealed your fate.
Piss off the judges.
That's it.
I'm always doing that, Tony. Foot in mouth all the time with this guy.
I'm not vindictive, but Tony wins.
Yeah, the trophy stays. Well, I have to say this. That was an absolute delight and a pleasure.
Same here, man.
Fantastic. It was great. One more time, how people can get a hold of you?
WillNoonan.com.
All right, and look for Dueling Comedians on
Tony,
your witchcraft machines there. Yes, Larry.
It was also great to have a guest under 70 years old.
If you took our mean age, I think we'd be a regular person at this point. Right.
We'd get into some festivals.
We're trying, mixing it up. I might even have a woman on.
Whoa, be careful with that. They tell tales these days, I heard.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.